A guarded single father moves into a quiet neighborhood, hoping to rebuild a life he's been running from. But when an unexpected food fight pulls him into the chaos of people he once avoided, everything he thought he wanted begins to change. Daniel tightened his grip on the steering wheel as the black Mercedes A-Class rolled slowly down the quiet neighborhood street. The late afternoon sun reflected off the houses lined in soft rows, each one looking safer than any place he had lived in the past few years. Lily sat in the back seat, her forehead pressed against the window, watching the world move by with that small, hopeful curiosity she never fully lost. Daniel glanced at her in the mirror and forced a tired smile. It had been a long road, too long, and all he wanted now was a place where she could breathe without fear. When the navigation finally announced their arrival, he exhaled in relief he didn't dare show. "This one looks nice," Lily whispered as they approached a small cream-colored house with a worn but inviting porch. Daniel's chest tightened at her gentle excitement. "I hope so," he said. "We need something steady this time." They stepped out of the car, the quiet breeze brushing past them like a cautious welcome. Lily grabbed her small backpack and waited beside him while he opened the trunk. Everything they owned fit into 3 suitcases and 2 cardboard boxes. Daniel noticed Lily shiver and said softly, "Let's go inside first. We'll unpack later." The house smelled faintly of paint and old wood. Daniel walked through each room slowly, mapping out safety and comfort in his mind. 2 things he had failed to protect well enough before. Lily wandered ahead, her small footsteps echoing lightly. "It's bigger than our last place," she said, peeking into a sunlit room. "Can this one be my room?" "If you like it," Daniel answered. Lily turned toward him with a grin. "I like it." For a moment, he let himself breathe. Maybe this could work. Maybe for once, he could give his daughter a home that didn't slip out from under them. That evening, Daniel took Lily to the local grocery store. He hoped to get the basics without drawing attention, but life rarely obeyed his quiet requests. While reaching for a carton of milk, he accidentally bumped into someone. A box of cereal slipped from the stranger's hand and hit the floor with a soft thud. "Oh, sorry," Daniel said quickly. The woman turned to him with a direct gaze, her eyebrows raised slightly in acknowledgement rather than annoyance. "No harm done," she said. Crowded aisle. Her name, as he would learn moments later from the small badge clipped to her shirt, was Maya. She had an energy Daniel wasn't ready for, warm, expressive, the kind of person who noticed things without trying. Lily peeked at her shyly from behind Daniel. Maya smiled at Lily. "New in town?" Daniel hesitated, then nodded. "Just moved today." "Well, welcome. This town's small, but it grows on people." She looked at Lily again, especially the young ones. Lily offered a tiny smile. Daniel gave a polite nod and quickly guided his daughter away, feeling the familiar tension of being seen too closely. He hated that reaction, but he couldn't help it. Too many people from his past had learned his story before he was ready to tell it. When they returned home, Lily sat on the living room floor with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. "She seemed nice," Lily said quietly. "She did," Daniel replied, placing the groceries on the counter. "Why did you walk away so fast?" Daniel paused. "I didn't want to keep her waiting in the aisle." Lily watched him with a look he couldn't fully read. She wasn't old enough to understand everything, but she knew when he avoided the truth. "Dad," she whispered, "we're safe here, right?" He crouched in front of her and rested a hand on her cheek. "Yes, I promise." Night settled over the house slowly. After Lily fell asleep, Daniel sat alone on the edge of his bed, staring at the blank wall. His thoughts drifted to the life they left behind, the arguments, the betrayal, the long nights of pretending everything was fine. He wondered if Lily remembered more than she admitted. He wondered if she blamed him. He wondered if he would ever stop blaming himself. The next morning began with an unexpected stillness. Lily came into the kitchen wearing her favorite sky blue sweater. Do you think I'll make friends here? She asked. I think you will, Daniel said. Just be yourself. She nodded, clutching her backpack straps. Will you pick me up right after school? Of course. They walked outside together. The sun was warm, and for a moment Daniel imagined what their lives might look like a few months from now. Lily laughing with friends, himself walking into a life that finally felt steady. As they reached the car, Lily said softly, I'm glad we moved. Daniel looked at her, hopeful, brave, trying so hard to believe in new beginnings. Me too, he said, though a part of him still feared everything could fall apart again. He drove her to school, watching her hurry inside with a mix of fear and excitement. He whispered to himself, please let this be the place where things finally change. On his way back home, Daniel took the long route through town, noticing the quiet streets, the bakery with a handwritten sign, and a small park where a few children chased each other in the soft morning light. When he finally reached the house, he stood at the doorway for a moment, listening to the silence at last. It felt like the beginning of something he didn't have a name for yet. Daniel stepped inside, closed the door gently, and let the stillness settle around him. He didn't know what the next days would bring, but for the first time in a long time, he felt something steady taking root, a quiet promise that life might still hold a place for them. The next morning began with the soft, hurried rhythm of a neighborhood waking up. Daniel rushed through breakfast with Lily, trying to keep their routine steady, calm, predictable. He believed that predictability was safety, and safety was the only thing he could offer her without fail. Lily ate quietly, her backpack already zipped and hanging over the chair, as if she was afraid of missing something important at school. Daniel noticed the hope glowing in her eyes, and it made something ache inside him. He wanted that hope to last. He wanted this new life to hold her gently. Are you ready? He asked as he grabbed his keys. More than ready, Lily said with a nervous smile. I want today to be good. Daniel nodded, hoping the universe would cooperate. When they arrived at school, Lily stepped out with her usual cautious excitement. She paused before entering the building. Will you come right on time when school ends? I'll be there before the bell rings, he promised. She nodded, took a breath, and walked inside. Daniel watched her disappear down the hallway before driving off, whispering a quiet prayer into the morning air. The day was supposed to be ordinary, calm, predictable, but nothing about Daniel's life ever stayed predictable for long. Around noon, Daniel was at work, arranging items behind the counter of a small electronics shop, when his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and felt his stomach drop. It was the school. He answered instantly. This is Daniel. A hurried voice replied. Mr. Hale, Lily is fine, but we need you to come to the school immediately. His heart slammed against his ribs. What happened? Please come as soon as possible. The call ended before he could ask anything else. Panic rose in his chest like a wave he couldn't outrun. He grabbed his jacket and rushed out, barely hearing his manager call after him. The drive felt endless. Every stoplight seemed designed to torture him. He imagined Lily hurt or crying, imagined every possible disaster, imagined losing her in a way he wouldn't survive. By the time he reached the school, he was breathless with fear. He hurried inside and went straight to the front office, where a small crowd of teachers stood whispering. At the center of them was Maya, the same woman he had met at the grocery store. She turned as he entered. Daniel, she said gently. She's okay. She's not hurt. The relief hit him so hard his knees nearly buckled. Where is she? She's in the counselor's room, Maya said. Come with me. They walked down the hallway, their footsteps echoing in the tense silence. Daniel's throat felt tight. What happened? They wouldn't tell me anything. Maya exhaled softly. There was a food fight in the cafeteria. Daniel blinked at her. Oh, what? It escalated fast. A few kids were teasing a new student. Lily tried to step in. She got caught in the chaos. Daniel stopped walking. She tried to step in? She did, Maya said. She was brave. They reached the small counselor's room. Lily sat on a chair, her sweater stained with mashed potatoes and something bright red that Daniel hoped wasn't anything unhealthy. Her expression was somewhere between embarrassed and amused. When she saw him, she whispered, "Dad, I'm sorry." Daniel rushed over and knelt beside her. "Are you hurt?" "No," she said. "Just messy." A breath escaped him. "You scared me." "I didn't mean to," she whispered. Before Daniel could respond, Maya stepped forward. Lily didn't start anything. She tried to defend a classmate. A boy made fun of him for stuttering. Daniel looked at his daughter with a mix of shock and pride. "You did that?" Lily shrugged. "He looks sad." Daniel felt a smile tug at his lips, despite the chaos. "You have a good heart." Maya watched them quietly, her warm gaze softening. She handled it better than most adults would have. Daniel stood up slowly, feeling the tension drain from his shoulders. "Thank you for calling me. It's my job," Maya said, "but I also wanted to make sure you knew she wasn't at fault." Her voice carried a calm assurance that settled something inside him. Daniel wasn't used to people defending him, or Lily, without hesitation. He cleared his throat. "I should clean her up and take her home. Let me help," Maya said. "I have extra wipes." Lily giggled. "You always have wipes." Maya smiled. Occupational habit. They worked together to clean Lily's sweater, and Daniel found himself unexpectedly grateful for Maya's presence. She didn't intrude, didn't judge, didn't look at him like he was a failing parent. Instead, she handled everything with gentle humor. Once Lily was ready to leave, they walked toward the exit. Maya stopped beside them and said softly, "Daniel, if you ever need anything, or if Lily ever needs someone to talk to, I'm here." Daniel hesitated. He wasn't used to kindness without cost. "Thank you," he said quietly. As he turned to leave, Maya added, "She's strong because you're raising her to be." Daniel paused, caught off guard by the sincerity in her voice. He didn't know how to respond, so he simply nodded and walked Lily to the car. Once inside, Lily said, "Dad, I think she likes you." Daniel's eyes widened. "Lily, what?" she asked. "She smiled at you a lot. She's just being kind." Lily leaned back. "Maybe you should be kind back." Daniel didn't answer. He started the engine and drove home, trying to ignore the strange warmth rising in his chest. Maya's voice echoed in his mind, steady and sincere. He tried to push it away, but it lingered. That evening, as Lily laughed while recounting the food fight in dramatic detail, Daniel found himself smiling more than he had in months. Something had shifted, subtle but undeniable. Lily felt lighter, and he felt something he thought he had lost a long time ago: hope. He didn't know where this new beginning would lead, or whether he had the courage to trust it. But as he watched his daughter finally relax into the rhythm of a new life, he felt a quiet promise forming inside him. Maybe, just maybe, they were exactly where they needed to be. The days following the cafeteria incident settled into a strange, delicate calm. Daniel found himself thinking about Maya more often than he wanted to admit. Her steady voice lingered in his mind like a song he didn't choose but couldn't turn off. He tried to focus on work, on Lily, on keeping everything predictable, but a quiet shift had begun, and he felt it every time he drove past the school or saw Lily smile in a way that looked new. One evening, Daniel picked Lily up from school and noticed her holding a handmade bookmark painted with bright colors. "Where did you get that?" he asked as they approached the car. "Maya helped us make them," Lily said. "She said colors can help calm the mind." Daniel opened the car door. "You like her, don't you?" "She listens," Lily said simply. "Not everyone listens." Her answer stayed with him longer than he expected. Later that week, when Daniel went to pick Lily up, he saw her talking with a boy near the school entrance. She laughed. a sound he hadn't heard from her so freely in years. As he approached, he noticed another man stepping out of a silver SUV nearby. Daniel didn't recognize him at first, but the moment the man lifted his head, Daniel's breath stalled. It was Mark, a ghost from the life he thought he buried. Mark approached slowly, hands tucked in his pockets. "Daniel," he said with a strained smile. "Didn't think I'd run into you here." Daniel stiffened. "What are you doing in this town?" "My sister lives here," Mark said. "I'm visiting." "Didn't know you moved." Daniel didn't believe that for a second. Lily walked over, holding her backpack tightly. She looked at Mark uneasily. Daniel rested a hand on her shoulder. "We should go." Mark nodded but stepped closer. "I heard about everything. About her. And about you leaving." Daniel felt heat rise in his chest. He didn't want Lily hearing old stories, old wounds, old mistakes. "This isn't the time." Mark hesitated. "You disappeared without telling anyone. People worried." "I did what I had to," Daniel said sharply. "We're done here." Before the tension could thicken, Maya walked out of the building, her expression shifting when she saw Daniel's rigid stance. "Everything all right?" she asked carefully. Mark smiled politely. "Just catching up." Daniel didn't look away from Maya. "We were leaving." Maya's eyes softened as she noticed the strain in his face. "Daniel, if you need anything." "I'm fine," he said a little too fast. Maya looked at him quietly. "Lily, I'll see you tomorrow?" Lily nodded before climbing into the car. Daniel gave a stiff nod and got in with her, driving off before Mark could say another word. The silence in the car felt heavier than anything. Lily watched the passing streets, then whispered, "Was that someone you knew?" Daniel tightened his jaw. "Yes, from before." "Before Mom left?" The word left her mouth so gently, but it cut through him. "Yes," Daniel said softly. "Someone from that time." Lily didn't ask anything else. She simply leaned her head against the window and let the quiet sit between them. That night, Daniel sat on the couch staring at the blank TV screen, unable to shake the memory of Mark's expression. Half pity, half judgment. He hated it. He hated the reminder of the life he had escaped, the betrayal that had cracked him open, the way everyone had looked at him like he failed his own family. He heard soft footsteps behind him. Lily stood in her pajamas, holding a small cup of water. "Dad," she whispered. "Are you sad again?" Daniel blinked slowly. "No, just tired." Lily sat beside him. "Maya says talking helps people not be scared of their feelings." Daniel exhaled. "Maya is smart. You can talk to her," Lily said gently. "I think she cares." Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. "It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because I'm afraid of being hurt again. Because opening up feels like stepping into fire. Because trusting someone nearly destroyed me once." But he didn't say any of that. Instead, he whispered, "I'm just trying to keep us safe." Lily rested her head on his arm. "We're already safe, but you're still hiding." Her words hit him with quiet honesty that felt too big for her age. The next day, Daniel took a different route to the school, hoping not to run into Mark again. But fate had its own plans. As soon as he parked, he saw Maya standing near the entrance talking to another teacher. She noticed him and walked over with a soft smile. "I didn't get to ask yesterday. Are you okay?" she said. Daniel looked away. "It was just someone from my past." "I figured," Maya said gently. "Your whole body changed when you saw him." Daniel sighed. "It's complicated." "It usually is." He glanced at her, surprised by her calm understanding. "You're not going to ask what happened?" "No," she said. "You'll tell me when you're ready." Something in her tone made his chest loosen. Before he could respond, a group of kids ran past, laughing loudly. Lily's voice rose over them as she called his name. She ran up to Maya with a bright grin. "I finished my drawing." "Well, let me see," Maya said warmly. Lily held up a picture of a small house under a blue sky. Daniel felt a lump rise in his throat. It looked like their new home. Maya looked at Daniel. "She's settling in." "You're doing something right." Daniel hesitated, then said, "I'm trying." "You don't have to do everything alone," Maya replied softly. Her words lingered in the air. But before Daniel could respond, he saw Mark's SUV pull into the parking lot again. His heart tightened as Mark stepped out, scanning the area. Daniel felt the past breathing down his neck, the buried memories threatening to rise. He took Lily's hand. "We should go." Maya followed his gaze and understood immediately. "Daniel," she said quietly, "you don't have to run from everything that scares you." He froze, but the instinct to protect himself and Lily was stronger than anything else. He whispered a quick goodbye, hurried Lily into the car, and drove away before Mark could see them. That night, Lily sat at her desk drawing while Daniel stood at the window, staring at the quiet street. He knew the truth he had been avoiding was catching up to him. He couldn't outrun his past forever, and if he wanted a real future for Lily, he would eventually have to face it. For now, though, all he could do was breathe through the rising storm inside him and hope that the fragile calm he was building wouldn't break before he found the courage to hold it together. The next morning arrived with a gray sky and a quiet heaviness that settled over the house. Daniel moved through the kitchen slowly, making breakfast while Lily colored at the table. He kept glancing at the window, half expecting the past to appear on the other side of the glass. He didn't know what Mark wanted, but he knew trouble rarely traveled alone. And when trouble found him, it wound up hurting Lily too. That fear pressed on his chest like a weight he couldn't lift. "Dad," Lily said suddenly, "you didn't sleep." Daniel forced a smile. "I'm fine." "You always say that," she whispered. He didn't answer. He didn't know how to. When Daniel dropped Lily at school, he tried to act normal, steady voice, gentle smile, predictable goodbye. But something in his eyes must have given him away, because Lily hugged him tighter than usual. "Don't worry today," she whispered. "Please try." He nodded, even though he knew worry had already taken root. As he walked back to his car, he saw Maya waiting near the entrance. She stepped forward with a careful softness, the kind she used when she sensed something fragile inside him. "You left quickly yesterday," she said. "I didn't get to check on you." Daniel hesitated. "I didn't want any more complications." Maya studied him closely. "Daniel, whatever happened between you and that man, it's still affecting you. And Lily feels it too." He looked away. "I'm handling it." "Are you?" Maya asked quietly. Daniel exhaled sharply. "I don't want to drag anyone into my problems." "You're not dragging," she said. "You're drowning alone." Her words landed so softly, yet hit him harder than any accusation. Daniel didn't know how to respond. He had built walls so tall that even kindness felt dangerous. Before he could find an answer, a voice interrupted them. "Well," Mark said behind him, "seems like you're settling in nicely." Daniel froze. He turned slowly to face Mark, who walked toward them with his hands in his pockets, wearing the same uneasy smile from the day before. Maya stepped slightly closer to Daniel, almost protectively. "Is there something you need?" Mark shook his head. "Just wanted a word with Daniel." Daniel stiffened. "Say whatever you need to say here." Mark sighed. "Look, man, I didn't come to start anything. I just wanted you to know I'm not here to cause trouble." Daniel narrowed his eyes. "You showing up twice in 2 days isn't exactly subtle." "I'm not following you," Mark insisted. "But when I saw Lily yesterday, I couldn't stop thinking about everything that happened." Daniel swallowed hard. "That's over. We moved on." Mark hesitated. "Your ex, she's been asking around. She wants to know where you are." Daniel's whole body went rigid. Maya looked between them, her expression serious now. "Daniel?" He ignored her, focusing on Mark. "She doesn't get to know where we are." "I know," Mark said, "but I thought you should be prepared." Prepared. The word cut through Daniel's thoughts like a blade. He felt the old fear rising, fear of losing Lily, fear of repeating the nightmare that drove them away, fear of trusting the wrong person again. Mark opened his mouth to say more, but Daniel held up a hand. "Enough. Stay away from us." Mark studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly and walked back to his SUV. When he was gone, Maya stepped in front of Daniel, her expression full of concern. "Daniel, what's going on?" He shook his head. "I can't talk about it." "You can," she said softly. "No," he whispered. "If I let people in, everything falls apart." Maya held his gaze, unafraid of the storm behind his eyes. Or maybe things finally come together. Something cracked inside him, a small, trembling crack. But deep. He didn't speak. He simply walked away, leaving Maya watching him with a mixture of worry and something gentler. That evening, the rain finally broke through the clouds. It pattered gently against the windows as Lily sat cross-legged on the rug, building a puzzle. Daniel sat nearby, unable to shake the echo of Mark's words. "Your ex wants to know where you are." He felt old fear twisting through him again, stealing the breath from his lungs. He stood abruptly and walked to the kitchen, gripping the counter to steady himself. Lily looked up. "Dad?" He took a slow breath. "I'm okay, sweetheart." But Lily's eyes filled with worry. "Is someone trying to take me away?" Daniel froze. "Why would you think that?" "I heard you and that man yesterday," she whispered. "I heard Mom's name." Daniel's chest tightened. He knelt in front of her. "No one is taking you away. I won't let that happen." "Are you sure?" Lily asked, her voice trembling. He brushed a hand through her hair. "I promise. You're safe with me." Lily leaned forward and wrapped her arms around his neck. Daniel held her tightly, wishing he could shield her from every shadow that followed them. As the night grew darker and the rain softened, a knock echoed through the house. Daniel froze. No one knew where they lived, no one except the school and the store. His heart pounded as he walked toward the door. Lily stayed close behind him. When he opened the door, he exhaled in relief. It was Maya, holding an umbrella and a bag in her other hand. She looked soaked, like she'd rushed here. "Sorry for coming so late," she said. "But you didn't look okay today, and I didn't want you sitting with that alone." Daniel blinked. "You came in the rain?" She gave a small, tired smile. "I'm stubborn like that." She held up the bag. "I brought soup. You both probably didn't eat well tonight." Lily's face brightened. "Maya." Maya stepped inside, placing the bag on the counter. Daniel watched her, overwhelmed by the simple kindness she carried so naturally. "You didn't have to do this," he said quietly. "I know," she answered, "but I wanted to." They sat together at the small kitchen table, Daniel, Lily, and Maya. The warm scent of soup filled the room, and the storm outside softened into a steady whisper. For the first time in days, Daniel felt the tension in his shoulders ease a little. Lily talked. Maya listened, and Daniel found himself drifting into the warmth of something unfamiliar, a feeling he had long forgotten. When Lily went to wash up, Maya looked at Daniel gently. "Whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it alone." Daniel swallowed hard. "I'm still learning how to trust again." "That's okay," Maya said softly. "Trust doesn't show up all at once. Sometimes it arrives in small pieces." He looked at her, really looked, and something inside him shifted, small but undeniable. Maybe this time, the past wouldn't win. Maybe this time, he could build something real. Maya held his gaze, and for the first time in years, Daniel didn't feel like running. He felt like staying.